call meeting of the Commissioner Court of Hood County, Texas. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. It is now 10:20. We're in the Central Jury Room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. We're pleased to have with us today Pastor Raspberry here to give us the invocation.
Let's pray. Father, we love you and we thank you for the privilege that we have to come together and to make decisions concerning our community. Father, we ask that you give wisdom and discernment to the court today, Lord. And Father, we ask that you bless them. Father, we ask that you be with all those that are here to participate in this, Father, and we ask that you bless them also. Father, as we move through this meeting, we ask that you remind us to be ever mindful that you are God and we are not. Father, we ask that you lead and guide through every part of this meeting, Lord. And Father, we ask that your will be done above all things. Father, we love you, and we lay these prayers at your feet today, Lord, and we say thank you for answered prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
The first item that we have up here is to discuss and take appropriate action to approve Hood County employee medical and vision coverage for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Ms. Melissa Welburn, do you want to?
I'm going to turn it over to one of these two guys.
Oh, okay. We'll have, good.
Okay.
Do you have a summary of that?
Unless you want to scribble on it.
Unless you want to write it up.
Yeah.
Ms. Robbins, which item do you want to talk on? This one or?
Just after.
Oh, after?
Yeah.
After all three of them, then, okay, all right, okay. Okay, introduce yourself first. You've been here in a long time.
Yes,
You got good news for us?
we did.
Oh, good. Well, you can stick around then.
Yeah, so my name's Daniel Anderson. I'm with Anco Insurance. This is Brian Stallings. We've been partners in the industry for almost 20 years. We started out on the financial side and financial planning for about 3 years. Then we moved over to Anco, which now we are a division of Hub as well for the last 17 years. So we've been doing this side of the business for about 17 years. We've been working with counties for probably 15 or 16 years. Just to give you a little background, my mom was a county auditor. She's been for 40 years, so I've been around the county world my whole life. I played baseball at Tarleton, if you want to add any of that. And after pro ball, went straight into doing this. So that's kind of where we're at. And Brian graduated from A&M, and he can tell a little bit about him if he wants to.
My story's not near as exciting. I went to A&M and got a degree and worked at, been in Anco. Just like you said, we had in the financial business for a while, and then this opportunity presented itself. President of Anco is one of our best buddies. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where full circle, when you get to work with everybody you enjoy working with, it's not a work anymore, it's fun. So that's kind of how this seems to us most of the time. And other than every now and then I get a few gray hairs from this, but hey, that's part of it, right?
Yes, sir. So that's a little bit about us. And so we've both got 3 kids. And he just had one graduate. I've got a senior and then a 12-year-old, and then I've got a caboose. I got a 6-year-old. I got a little while to go. She's in kindergarten. Yes, sir. You know, and I've honestly enjoyed the little stages at this age way more than I did on my first one. I was too nervous. So we're good now. And Brian's got 3 as well. He's got his youngest is first grade, second grade, third grade.
Oldest is going to play baseball at Temple next year.
Wow.
So good stuff. All right, so what we do every year for every county that we have, and we have a bunch of counties, we go out to a market and we look at the entire market. We market it out way in advance. We look at your claims data, look at your claims summary, and all that, all your claims and stuff are in the presentation and everything. You will see it. If you can see, if this is just a brief notes that we put on the presentation, Aetna, we've received the quote in presenting, and once you look at this, Aetna is a really, really nice option. They've got the best proposal on the table, honestly, overall. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield quote. Their quote was high. It's a direct Blue Cross Blue Shield quote. They're not competitive comparative to the other markets. Cigna DTQ, the only reason they DTQ because they couldn't get their rating structure close to where you're at currently. Nonstop Health, we have a quote and presenting. Scott and White, DTQ, they were not competitive. A lot of that's with network as well, just as far as rates. United Healthcare, we have their quote and presenting, Curative, and then TAC DTQ'd. So what happens when TAC in this world, when TAC, they get first shot to bid from Blue Cross, right? And if they don't feel like they're competitive, then Blue Cross Direct will put in a quote. Okay, that's the way that works. So we go there first, and then we have to wait. And if they don't decide not to put a quote in, then we'll get a quote from Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's just the order of the process with them. Okay, so we do have some really neat options. There'll be some discussions on, some things inside of that, and we'll talk about. But we can go ahead and skip over now. You want me to run it?
Yeah, you can hit the clicker.
Yeah, that way I'm not telling you.
That way it messes up, it's your fault.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. All right, so let's start with Curative. We're going to talk the rates. I'll show you claims and stuff afterwards. Curative, you see your rates right now, 816, 16, that's your current plan, current rate designs, all the way down to each tier. The original renewal was pretty hot based on our claims. We did utilize this very well. We were in negotiations with Curative until midnight last night, if that tells you anything, trying to get their rates back down to where they originally were. They did not get there. They are ending up at around a 19.9, which in all honesty is not competitive based on where the other quotes are, and we're going to discuss that. But they started at a 23. They went up to their CEO, Fred, which we're good friends with. Now it's at a 19.9. And Christopher Gravitt, the internal account manager there, he is an excellent guy. We've worked with him for 15 plus years, and he did his best. But overall, financially, they didn't feel like they could get any better than where they're at. Okay, this kind of shows you where the plan. This is the plan as is, no changes as a 19.9, which is not competitive, to be honest. Okay. Any questions about that before I kind of get to where it's going to be what we think you're going to look at? It'll take me a minute to get there.
That was something you negotiated. That's what you're saying, that these documents we have aren't fully up to date?
The one on the screen is, the ones y'all have, it was updated this morning.
Can you go back?
Yes, sir. Thank you. There it goes. Yes, sir. So you see the renewal column, that's 1,003, then the negotiated column at 978.58. That's where they ended up. Okay. Which is, it's still a zero deductible, zero out-of-pocket plan. It's a very nice plan. But what we're going to show you is basically the same. It's even richer benefit for a decrease, okay, for the cat. So, so that maybe that would print out is probably up to date for that, but some of the rest of the presentation is not.
Okay.
Okay. United Healthcare, you can see we just repeated the current and renewal with Curative. United Healthcare nonstop on the very far right. And we did create you a sheet, by the way, that shows the deductions and employer responsibility in there, but it's going to have to be after these spreads, okay? You got United Healthcare nonstop on the right. They're at 945. They are not competitive as well. It is a nice option, but price-wise, it is not where we feel you probably will need to look at, okay? But we wanted to show our value, so we're showing this as well. So go ahead and skip over to the next page. This is an example of a nonstop health quote. We're going to skip all the way to, it says medical Aetna nonstop. Skip that page. And there's a bunch more to talk about too. Just let me know when y'all are good. You good? All right, so based on all the carriers that came in, Aetna came in with the most competitive pricing. You can see your curative rates at 816.16. Okay, and tiered down. If you look over to the very far right, you'll see Aetna paired with a nonstop health plan. and that rate is at 8, 12, 14 and tiered down. Something we did talk, we were in here last year, I didn't cost shift it yet, but we have the ability to cost shift these rates based on dollars, which is what we did last year, okay? And so right now, it is cheaper on the employee-only rate. It is a little more expensive on the family rate overall, but it's still a really nice bet. It's about a 2% increase, yes, ma'am? Oh, I thought you raised your hand. Sorry about that. But overall for the county, right now, currently, unless you wanted to cost shift, it is at about a $15,774 decrease, okay, currently as it stands for the employer responsibility, okay? Now, with that particular plan with Aetna, just to give you an update, it's Aetna's largest open access network, so all the network issues that we might have had with Curative, they should not be any longer. It's their largest network. It's really, really nice. Cook's Children, all the children's hospitals, everything around here is going to be a network. Also, as far as that, what we use is something called Nonstop Health. The deductible you see on this particular plan design is $7,500, but we take and we purchase this like a fully underwritten HRA. Okay, y'all have had a HRA in the past. So what they do is they underwrite the HRA, and then they come up with a reduced amount, and I'll show you those amounts here in the next couple slides. And they fund the entire out-of-pocket max for everybody on day one, okay, for an independent individual or a family or dependent on a medically coded visa card, okay? Now, I know that's simple, complicated, but that's what they do. They fund the out-of-pocket max. So like Curative did have a tier, specialty copays for tier 4 drugs. There's not that. Basically, you use your Aetna, you file it. Whatever the invoice is, you have a Visa card loaded with the entire out-of-pocket max. As long as it's in network and approved by Aetna, you just pay your bill, pay your invoice, okay? And overall, it will cross-accumulate. There will be, once you use the $7,500, it's on the, if most people will not use it, but if you do, then the plan takes over and pays 100% after that. That's complicated probably a little bit, I know, right? But we have probably 8 counties or so that use this form of fashion with different carriers, whether it's Blue Cross, TAC, United, Scott & White, Aetna, all of the above have some version of this paired with Nonstop, and they love it, okay? I'm going to skip over to the Nonstop to kind of break it down. Does anybody have any questions about what I'm showing and pricing on this right now? I know it's a little different and it is complicated, but it's really nice, because y'all were with a $5,000 deductible with TAC, and I'll show you just price relatively what that looked like to what an Aetna plan that's even richer than that looks like right now. It's like $600,000 or $700,000 cheaper, okay?
At the main column on the left, which is what we have now,
Yes, ma'am.
and the far column on the right,
Yes, ma'am.
the deductible is 0 and the new deductible is $7,500 or $1,500 or $15,000 for family, but you're saying that is where the stop loss comes in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So basically that entire
Or
out-of-pocket.
nonstop, sorry, I
Yes,
called
ma'am.
it the wrong thing.
Nonstop, yes, would you just go? Yes, ma'am. That entire out-of-pocket for the family, dependents, or the individual is loaded day one on a Visa card, and it's sitting there for them to pay their bills. It is very nice. Now, we've probably got, I don't know, Brian, 5,000 or 6,000 employees on this version of it right now. I mean, ourselves personally, not the company, but us. Okay? So that kind of gives you relevance. It's a really, really rich, very nice plan. Very nice offer on the table. But it is complicated, so ask me any questions that you would like to help understand any of it, okay? Anybody, I'll just go ahead and skip and go walk through and break it down. Does anybody have any questions before I go to that part? Just so you know, does everybody just on the nonstop, we make it where you have to use, it's got to be approved by Aetna, and it's got to be in network before you can utilize the card, because it's not going to work if somebody tries to go get Botox or something like that that's not medically, approved through the carrier, right? And so and you don't want it to be. You don't want people to be able to pay for something that's not approved, right? Because that hurts the plan and hurts them because it doesn't cross-accumulate. We made this here for just contributions, just for y'all to look at, because we have the ability to cost shift. It shows your current curative renewal, and then it shows you Aetna nonstop and those rates and what it would look like payroll deduction wise. And then on the very far right, it shows the savings per month, which equates to like $15,774. What we do have to talk about is we can cost shift those rates to get the family rate down if that's something y'all would be interested in, okay? Just so while we're talking, we can do that. It's basically, there's 14 families. It's about $33,000 for that entire amount. We can find that money and move it, okay, in a different way to make that go. I didn't want to do that till after we met today, though, okay? All right, so the next sheet we added into this, it's not going to be in the printout. We just wanted to show you where, not a year ago, where you were. So you were at a $5,000 plan with TAC, 80% coinsurance. Your rates were $816.16. They were going to, last year's renewal, going to $865.12. For a $3,500 plan by itself with Aetna proposed right now, it's at $703. So that kind of tells you a little bit of, if you were buying something, which is better than what you had, similar, what that savings about. It's about I don't know, 600, almost $700 something thousand in price savings overall for the plan to have something similar to what you had before we were involved. Does that make sense to everybody? It is. So in other words, it's a really, really nice offer. And you can look at each tier or price lower relatively, okay? This is just for everybody to see, okay? Any questions about that? And this doesn't include any HRA money that y'all had included last time. This is just the premium for the plan, okay? All right, Aetna Nonstop. Let's talk about this, which is overall to keep the plan at a zero deductible, zero out of pocket, and y'all don't want to make any changes. Those rates, if you look at option one, that is what, if you want to keep it a zero deductible, zero out of pocket, that's what you do. They fully load that out of pocket max for everybody. And if you see option two and option three, they give you an option to add a $1,000 back end or a $2,000 back end. You may not want to consider this, but it does, and it price drops relatively, okay? And so what they do is their first dollar coverage only. That means they fully load the card and they pay for the money up front. And so you pay for everything first. If you added a $1,000 back in, it would be $1,000 at the end of the deductible, not at the front. Does that make sense? And they price drop it. So because they believe, kind of like Curative believes, is over a couple of years or year and a half, that if you're not paying anything for the small stuff, you'll go get that stuff done, which is probably some of the stuff that happened. And over time, it'll save a lot of shock claims. They want you to go to the doctor, basically. They want you to go to the doctor first instead of wait until it's bad. That's the way they think. Okay? So anyway, here's the three options. You can see the pricing accordingly. So this is a breakdown of the reserve. Something else with Nonstop Health that's unique. They underwrite it. The premium on the left is your Aetna premium for that plan. The reserve premium is what their underwriter calculates, okay, at $216.78. So what happens with Nonstop Health is they front this, right? But they also, we're able to track this through technology through the year. And if any of it is not utilized, the county is able to receive 100% of that back in a credit, okay? Or they can receive 2/3 of it back in a check for the very next year's renewal. That makes sense? So it's like a fully underwritten HRA. They're just taking on some of the risk. So if you blow through and run terrible and everybody maxes it out and it's like they way under guessed on what the funding would be, they have to eat it. They have to pay all that out. That's on them, okay? That's why it's underwritten. There's really only one of these like this in the country, and we have exclusivity to that, okay? So it's a unique way to look at it. They have their fees. I can't do anything about that. We will discuss, based on this Equalis contract, we will be removing any and all broker fees inside of the carrier, and you see this $5 on here, those will be removed, and we'll make a separate line item consulting fee, but we will make it where it's lower period than what we're receiving from the carriers to best fit for y'all, because we're having to do that with that Equalis contract. Okay, so whatever rates we're showing you now, they will substantially be lower. Okay, but I'm not able to get those rates until since we just got it last night at midnight, and underwriter adjusts those accordingly. Okay, but it will be less than what the rates are now, including the consulting fee. It'll be less. All of the above. Does anybody have any questions about this? No? Okay. Feel free to ask me. These are some of the large claims report, just to show y'all can see some of the data. This is in all y'all's packets that y'all can take with you. You can see some of the large claims and how we were run. These are just top 10. And then you can see loss ratios where they were trending up above 100%. And this is the reason for curatives renewal, okay? And the most recent month that we don't have is hotter than that. And so unfortunately, that's why we were negotiating till midnight, is because they wanted to try to keep the business. The CEO financially just couldn't get where Aetna was. They knew where Aetna's numbers are, and they couldn't get there, okay? Just open as it is. What do you know? You want to give them the best shot to keep the business. Any questions about that? Let's see. Well, before I skip on out of the medical, does anybody have any more questions they would like to consider with that? The way it's looking like to me, the best offer on the table, if you want to retain a zero deductible, zero out of pocket for the employees, is the Aetna nonstop, full Aetna nonstop at a zero deductible, zero out of pocket. We can look at cost shifting to help reduce that family down, but it's not going to change the overall dollars other than us pulling the comp out of it, okay? And that will happen, but that's the best overall offer on the table. Does anybody have any questions about that, or any
You
questions?
probably said this, but what is the meant by 1,000 back-end exposure and 2,000 back-end exposure?
Yes, ma'am. So what Nonstop does is they believe in first dollar coverage, and so the first, like option 1 is 0, so they pay all of it, all the out-of-pocket for everybody. Option 2 and 3, so you see where it's a $7,500 plan, the deductible. What they would do is load $6,500 on an individual's card,
Okay.
but they would never get to that 1,000 until after they've used the $6,500, right?
Okay.
They would have $6,500 on it. They could pay $6,500 worth of expenses, and the last $1,000 would be on them.
Okay, so just to be clear to the employees, or that if this is what's selected, is this isn't $1,000 or $2,000 up front, like a deductible. This is, they would have to go through the whole
That's right.
65 or
Yes,
100.
ma'am.
Okay.
It's
I just want to be clear that that's
They will-
not like a deductible. It's
That's
not, they
correct.
have to pay the $1,000 first.
No, ma'am. Absolutely not. It is very much first dollar coverage, but that's the only way they'll write it. That's why they're unique. They won't do it the other way.
Well, actually, the employee's not ever out anything as long as they stay within the PPO.
Well, on the option 1,
Okay.
okay, option 1, right, it's a zero, like you shouldn't have to pay for anything that's approved through medical provider on option 1, nothing, anything, prescriptions, office visits, surgery, nothing. You shouldn't pay, you should not have $1 out of your pocket as long as you stay in Aetna's network, which is their largest network, so you shouldn't have a problem. And it's an approved by Aetna. You can't just say, hey, I want Ozempic, I'm gonna go get it, if the doctor hadn't technically.
Where's the list of all the pharmacies?
We can pull,
Do you have that?
we can get all of that for you, yes, sir.
There.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, it's going to be more than you have now, I can tell you that too. So what you're used to with curative, this is even larger network. So pharmacies are pretty much, you know, CVS, Walgreens, all your major ones are. gonna
They're
be
all in network.
With Aetna. So I don't worry about you're not going to take a step back. You're going to get more when you move forward with Aetna.
So if you're covered, if your primary physician is on curative, it's going to be under this Aetna nonstop.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
Plus, you're not gonna have any issues like Cook's Children's or either Children's Hospital or the larger hospitals that maybe there's some contract negotiations going on with Curative right now. Because Curative's they use an old First Health network with Aetna, but they're also trying to build their own contract with Curative, right, at the same time. So they're working through a rented network and Curative's network. I know it's complicated, but they're doing both for pricing standpoint. And so that's what's going on right now, like Memorial Hermann. Now, Curative has the flexibility because there's zero deductible, zero out-of-pocket plan. They'll give you those zero cards, and you just ask for a cash price and pay it, right? Whereas a normal plan wouldn't be able to do that, but they can do that with that. And so like Memorial Hermann in Houston, they hadn't finished negotiating, so it's out of network with Curative now. And so, people, all of our clients that are with Curative in that area are using the zero card, but it is confusing, right? It's a confusing piece, and it is caused a little bit of turmoil. But some of that's happening because they're growing substantially. They're going to add probably 250,000 enrollees before the end of the year with Curative.
Are several phone calls and emails to
Yes, ma'am.
Curative to get that zero card loaded
Yes, ma'am.
over and over if you,
It does. And the reason that's happening is because of what I'm talking about. And they're growing pretty rapidly. Which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but you're going to have some issues with that.
That's the prescription plans that are under Curative now. How's that gonna transition if we go with, the Aetna?
Are you talking about as far as like authorizations and stuff like that?
I mean, like in my case, my prescriptions are at Curative.
Correct. So you would have an extended pharmacy. So instead of having to use Curative's pharmacy or HEB, which is what Curative is, you'd be able to use pretty much any pharmacy you would like for the most part.
Whoever
Okay.
you used before.
Who did you use before
In
you
other words,
switched?
you go back to where we were a year ago.
Correct.
You could, pharmacy wise, correct. Yes, sir.
Send those, like I have a 3-month prescription, if they send that to Walgreens.
The pharmacy should send those updated automatically to the carrier, okay? Yes, ma'am. Now, the only thing is, anytime you switch carriers, this has to do with basically Aetna or Curative or Blue Cross or anybody. Anytime you switch carriers, somebody may have to get an updated prior authorization or prescription if it's a higher dollar medication, right? That's usually what will happen. But that's not a Aetna or a United Healthcare or Blue Cross or TAG. That's every single one of them across the board, Curative included. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Curative uses the old network that Aetna had. This is their largest national network, so it's just basically an improved version of what you've got. Okay. But what we would do is look to approve where you would want to go, and then we'll still have to back out those rates, knowing they will be less than what you're showing today in cost shift, right? And get those done. We'll have those done this week and over to you. But it's going to do nothing but bring the price down for the county, okay, overall.
So this is obviously the one that we need to go with, correct? I mean, are you presenting anybody else? Do you have another plan to present, or are you done with the?
Well, I mean, if it depends on what you want. I mean, I showed you, if you wanted to get away from the zero deductibles, out of pocket, save money, that $3,500 Aetna plan that I showed you against TAC, that's the best price plan. Yes, we've got quotes from TAC, United Health, we got quotes from everybody, but they're just not worth wasting your time to look at. to be
Okay,
honest with you.
I guess that was my question,
that-
is, this looks like a no-brainer to me. Was there anything else you were wanting to
No,
present?
financially, benefit-wise, it is a no-brainer for where to go. It
Right.
should be a pretty easy decision, except for which one you would rather go. Do you want the zero deductible like you've had with nonstop, or do you want to go back to something in between, like that $3,500 plan I showed on that spread, right? If you want to do that, or you want to keep the really, really nice benefits that you have now, okay? We just showed you that because you had a plan like that before, and the savings are, substantial. Let's just put it that way. Very substantial, right?
Yeah, that was what, 6?
Yeah, let's see, I'll flip back to it real fast, just so y'all. Right, so, and we could add other plans on here, but a $3,500 plan that's what y'all had a 5,000, that's the only reason we showed it, is to show price relevance. It's at 703 versus y'all would have been a year ago at 865 and probably would have got another 6 to 10% increase. No, ma'am, that one's updated on the way here.
all right.
Okay. But we could forward you this entire presentation to everybody. But just to consideration, price relevance, that's substantial, but it is people got used to zero deductible, zero out of pocket. So we try to match benefits and get the pricing current or decreased. And we're showing this as an alternative. If Blue Cross was better, I believe me, I'd have Blue Cross up here, but it's not. I'll give you the whole quote, it's not good.
I don't know if you did the math on this, but, I mean, the premium is lower. And, I mean, there could be, like, I think that the county did this before I was on the court, helped apply, set aside money for the employees for their deductible, right? But I don't know that the premium amount, I'd have to see the math to see the difference in premium if the county decided to,
Fund the HRA.
yeah, to zero out the deductible, but then there's still an out-of-pocket.
You could basically take 327, if you wanted to do just the deductible and not the out-of-pocket, 327 times 3,500. That would be the employee only. But what Nonstop does is does it for everybody. So that's how, that's what they specialize, is underwriting that risk. If you don't want to, if a county or a corporation doesn't want to take on that burden to see how they run, and that's why they give that money back if you don't use it. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah,
but you can do it both ways. We have everybody do it both ways. So it's all over the place.
Basically where you're at, to your point, our recommendation is the Aetna with Nonstop, to keep everyone whole with a zero out of pocket. Yeah, you could go this route, do an HRA, reimburse people like you have before. There's more headache in that. And then there was another Aetna United plan that was up there that is a zero deductible, but it has copays for everything. And the out of pocket was about $7,000. So when you look at trying to get as close to apples as you got today, Aetna and the Nonstop together is where you'd be. And you have a true zero out of pocket at that point, because some employees in here are probably paying $50 for a script, or some high-end $250 for a script. That completely goes away because they have that card to pay for it. And then it saves what the county's $1,300. It's not, I mean, the savings of $1,300 a month, which is pennies compared to the total spend, but it is a savings versus an increase.
And it will go down from that. So it will be a little bit more savings than what's on here. But it's not going to go up.
Well, and it's already cheaper than what we paid last year.
Yes, sir.
So that's
Alyssa, is this your recommendation as well?
It is my recommendation based on what we've had previously. I'm more excited about Aetna's plan than I was Curative's.
Yeah.
So yes, it is.
I mean, opening up to the wider provider network, I think, will help a lot of the folks that were having trouble with, what was the name of it wasn't Curative, it was something, First Health Network.
Which literally is an old network, I believe it was 1970, that was formed by Aetna. I may have the data wrong a little bit, but somewhere in that range. Yes, ma'am. No, it is a very good offer. It makes the decision a lot easier.
Well, I'll make a motion to go with the Aetna with Nonstop.
Motion is made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the Aetna Nonstop employee medical plan for the coverage for 2025-2026 fiscal year. Second by
Second.
Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
And I just want to mention the vision is
Yes,
not
ma'am.
changing. You're going to it? Okay.
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. We went out to look at different vision providers, but based on having a low option and a high option, you're in a rate guarantee. It's still at $6 or $9, and it's not changing at all. It's at zero. Because we're moving medical carriers, I don't believe it'd be a good year to call more disruption just for that when it's not changing any price. You're in a rate lock, okay? You could move and save a few pennies, but it's not going to be a whole lot. Any questions on that? And we went to everybody, just so you know, like as far as on that too, went to all these different carriers. I just kind of skipped that page. I believe I got
This is
one.
an optional plan for employees. It's not a requirement.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay.
employees get to pick which one they want to go with.
That's correct. And, Guardian does offer 2 different networks for vision, so people can choose which network they would like to be in. MetLife has got a good quote, but their billing is not the best. I mean, I've got a lot of business with MetLife, but their billing is. Any questions on that? I mean, I don't know if that needs to be, since it's in a rate lock and I don't know if that needs to be approved or not. I guess
I
that's
think go ahead and make a motion and second it, since it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion is to keep the same vision plan that we do have?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You gonna make that?
I'll
Okay.
make that motion, yes.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Wilson to keep the same vision plan for the fiscal year 2025, 2026, second by Commissioner Samuelson.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously for the vision plan also, 5-0. Okay, next.
We have one more voluntary benefit. I'm going to let Martha discuss this, an option we wanted to talk about. It's about emergency medical transport and some other stuff as a voluntary option, because medical transport, like an ambulances and stuff, are out of network in all carriers. And so I'm going to let him take that over, though, and discuss it.
Did a good job. Keep it up. We like that no increase. We expect that same good service next year.
Yes, sir.
We would love to give a decrease every year.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, guys. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hey, Jaron Floyd with Massa. I'm here with Ken Euler, also with Massa. We're both with Massa, but we really come from the fire and EMS world, where we both spent 20 years in fire and EMS. So we've seen the critical situations, and we've also seen, how painful these bills can be afterwards. And so that's where Massa steps in. And what we do is we really take a holistic approach to EMS. We want to make sure that people have no out-of-pocket costs for any emergency transportation that them or their family might have to go through. And as we just said, insurance doesn't cover the out-of-pocket costs for emergency transportation. It's out of network. And, there needed to be some solution in the market that solved for that and didn't have any, that made sure that we covered every provider out there in the United States, and that's where Massa steps in. We do that by offering 3 different plans. We have our Emergent Plus plan, and that's going to cover, again, any emergency ground and any emergency air ambulance anywhere in the United States. So whatever company picks you up, the way that Massa works, you actually send us that bill and we pay that provider directly. And that's where I kind of go back to that holistic approach to EMS, is we actually not only want to make sure that our members are covered completely, but we also put that money back into the EMS system, helping support your local EMS, putting that money back into the community. So holistic approach, and that's where we come from, being in the fire EMS for 20 years, and wanted to offer that solution for y'all. On our Emergent Plus plan, this is going to be our base plan that I kind of think everybody needs. Again, going to cover any of the out-of-pocket costs for emergency ground and emergency air transportation. Also, hospital-to-hospital transportations, which happen a lot. You go to hospital A, you go in there thinking, heck, happened to me, actually. I went into a local hospital thinking I had a headache, and turned out I had an aneurysm. So I had to be transported, and insurance doesn't cover that very well either. And so Massa steps in and has coverage for that. We even have some travel benefits built into that. So if you're traveling, we're actually going to get you transported back to your closest appropriate home hospital. Most of the time, we offer all 3 plans to a group. Our Emergent Premier plan kind of expands that coverage. All of our plans are going to cover the emergency transportation piece the same way. You're just going to see a little bit different benefits on the hospital-to-hospital, or on the repatriation, for example, on the Emergent Premier, that allows you to, if you're traveling in the Bahamas and Mexico, places like that, we're going to get you transported back home if something happens. And on the Platinum, it will be worldwide. But you can see all of our other benefits there. Do y'all have any questions about the plan, or have y'all heard of any other kind of membership plans before?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were going to discuss here. I guess one of the questions is it says family. So like with air evac, we'll just put that out there,
Okay.
for example. Everybody in your home, everybody listed at that address is covered under your
Yes, sir.
annual premium.
Yes, sir.
What, is that what we're looking at here? Or
So yeah, actually, for Massa, we're not. And let me go into that a little bit background also. I actually used to work with that particular company myself, doing their membership program. I switched over to Massa along with Mr. Euler here, because being an EMS, one of the limitations, and it's a great plan. They do what they said they can do. They're a great company. Worked for them for a long time. Used them as a helicopter service for calls I've been on. The difference between what we do at Massa and what they do is that they're a provider of EMS, and they have their membership, and it's great. The only issue they have is that it's a limited network, and so you have to be on their helicopter. With Massa, we're not a provider of EMS. We're a payer of EMS. And that's really a big difference there, is that allows us to cover any helicopter company nationwide. So, you might have air evac here local, that might be your primary response, but if that's helicopters down, on another call, another helicopter company comes in, we're gonna be able to take that. If you're traveling, you're in San Antonio in a different company, who knows, anywhere. The other thing I'd like to mention is that while, as we know, air ambulance bills are very large, around 90% of all EMS transportations come from a ground ambulance. And that'd be another limitation of that plan, is that it doesn't cover ground ambulance transportation, where we're going to step in and make sure we cover ground. Again, that's going to be 90% of all EMS, and that's about a $2,000 out-of-pocket bill for just to go a couple miles down the road. So the main difference in what we have is, one, our unlimited network. We're going to cover anybody that transports you. And to get to what you were asking, is we are designed to be more of a employee benefit like your other benefits. So we're going to cover you and your eligible dependents on the plan. So while we don't cover the entire household, they're able to do that because they are a provider, and they can, someone gets transported and they can just say, hey, we're not going to send the bill. Where, great, but most of the time people are going to need a ground ambulance. Most of the time, or not most of the time, if you're traveling, you're going to need a different helicopter. So very limited. So they can say, hey, we'll cover the household. We are designed to fit and work alongside your medical insurance, to work alongside, be an advocate for you, work with the insurance provider, work with your broker, and step into that to really be an employee benefit for your people.
Saying is if you have a family member that has insurance through their employer, so they're not on the Hood County plan.
Oh, no, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, see, I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. You do not have to be on the health plan here. No. We're going to cover all your eligible dependents. Doesn't matter what health plan they're on. So if, employees on this plan and spouses on another plan, that's fine. So if they have Massa, we're going to cover all their family members. So that would include spouse and children under 26, just like the dental and the vision. It's really, we follow pretty close to the ACA guidelines, just like your other benefits. Yeah. Did I answer your question
No,
right?
Because when you answered Commissioner Andrews, you said it does not cover everyone in your household, but when
No,
you
I'm
answered-
sorry. Let me be clear on that. The air evac membership would cover like grandma that's living with you, non-eligible dependents. And so that's what you're referring to, am I correct in
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. So if you have, on the air evac membership, if I have grandma or a roommate, and if I have a roommate, that would cover them as well. But just very limited on what they would cover. And so I'm sorry if I didn't clear that up. Yeah. We do cover eligible dependents, so.
Limitations on, where you're at in the country?
I'm sorry?
Is there any limitations?
No, sir. No. What nationwide coverage is, we cover all states, including Canada. You're going to have 100% coverage.
Jared, I would clarify about, just a point of clarity on that, on the platinum plan, on the worldwide coverage, there's limitations on that. If you're traveling to war-torn territories, or whatever, we have no-fly zones, and that's not covered if you are in that situation.
And I'm speaking more to the emergency transportation piece. Yes, there is no limitations or areas on your emergency transportation. The main reason of why you get the plan, the meat and potatoes of the plan.
Melissa, is this an option that you're thinking that we would just make this available to employees who want to sign up, or?
Yes, I wanted the court to hear what they had to say. It is an option. Air Med canceled on me at about 4:30 yesterday, so they will not be here to present their option. So I just wanted you to hear all the options, because we do have CareFlight listed on the agenda that according to your needs to approve or not. So I just want you to hear what they had to say, and it may be something that I bring back to the court, if nothing else, just to offer it during open enrollment.
So does this,
If it was employer paid, can you give an estimate of what that would be for like just an employee or the family?
Yeah, we can.
Is that throwing too much off?
Gosh,
I guess you have to, be specific of which of these three plans.
Right.
Yeah, typically what we do is when we're talking about an employer-paid plan, you go with the baseline, the employer will pick up that tab, and then we allow for a buy-up. So if somebody wants to, if they're gonna be traveling out of the country, or, you know, they go to Europe every summer or whatever, they can get the platinum plan or the premier plan, depending on what fits their needs. And then they just pay the difference, and that's administered through the broker.
And if they did the employee sponsored, what would the cost be?
350 employees, is that correct? 327? Yeah. I'm not looking at the numbers right now, but around $10 per employee,
That's employee only. Come on.
for the family.
Okay.
Yeah, for the family.
If they just wanted to buy the employee only,
Yeah.
and then let the employees buy up to have the family as an option.
Y'all put me on the spot here.
But see what,
CareFlight plan.
so,
Is this in competition, this MASA plan is in competition with the CareFlight plan?
It could be. It's really up to the court. Again, I just wanted you to hear the plan, make you aware of it.
I mean, you wouldn't want,
Oh.
in order to get both, you wouldn't want CareFlight and MASA,
No,
would
you
you?
would
Right.
not. You would
So
not.
we're up here to present which is the best for the employees here.
Yes, and again, that would be up to the court if you wanted to contribute to the premium, and it sounds like we're kind of undecided about
Yeah.
exactly
send that
what the
stuff to you.
premium would be. So I just thought this would be a good time for you to hear it.
Yeah, I agree.
and,
It
And
is.
I can always bring it back if they can get us some better numbers,
sure.
and it'd be an option, but like I told you, court, we do have to make a decision on CareFlight today because that renews August, Friday.
And if, I can speak maybe to a little more of the detail, just real brief, so we can get a, you know, when we say, I know you'll have maybe a CareFlight, and then there's maybe some Air Med Care Network. And that's, like I was saying before, you know, there's a bunch of different carriers, and they all have their own membership. With my experience as a paramedic, the reason that I switched to MASA and believe in this product is because I've called helicopters in, and I've been with people that are getting ready to have to be on a helicopter, and I don't want to, I can't guarantee that the helicopter they have a membership with is the one that's showing up. And this is where MASA stepped in because we wanted to solve for that. You know, we had worked with one of these providers and believed in a membership plan, but really wanted to have that one membership that not just covered, you know, all the different, us being medics, we know that different helicopters can come in depending on the location. And so we wanted a plan that would also cover the ground, and none of them did. They only cover their helicopter. Like I said, that's a big piece. And mainly we wanted 911 to work how it's supposed to, and that is you call 911 and the closest provider should be the one that shows up, and that's who you should also be covered with a plan, and that's what we do. Right, yeah. Right.
All right, I'm a little unclear on foreign, if you're out of country, repatriation. Is that,
Yeah, if you're looking on those plans, and I'll just as a brief summary of how the repatriation would work on each plan. On the Emergent Plus, that is going to be limited to the United States and Canada. So, and you have to be over 100 miles away from home.
Okay.
It's a good, like, you know, you're in Florida, something happens, you're hospitalized. It's a bit of a logistical issue to, your family's here, your doctor's here, but you're now in a hospital in Florida. So we're actually going, you can contact MASA and we'll make sure you get transported to your closest appropriate hospital. it's essentially going to work the same on all the plans. Just the perimeter gets a bit larger. So on the Premier plan, we've expanded that to Mexico, the Bahamas, your common places of travel. So people are on vacation down there. And then for the people that are, you know, the European backpacking folk that might want to go out, the Platinum plan would be something for them. And we actually get a lot of people that do like to go, you know, if they do mission trips and stuff like that, they would pick the Platinum plan because if something happens to them while they're somewhere, they could use the plan.
Gotcha.
So, and then you can see, of course, there's a lot of other benefits on, that are included, depending on the plan. On the Premier, there's some coverage for even getting to rehab and things like that. On the Platinum, heck, we'd even, if you're at the coast and something happens to you, we get your RV, your boat, your kids, all the stuff can come back. Dog, right, right. Yeah, pets, yeah. Well, we're in Texas, hold on. Not livestock, right? So your normal, yeah, dogs and cats and normal pets, right?
I will say, I had it personally, and my son, when we got carried ambulance from Dallas Cowboy Stadium to Children's Hospital here, he was severely sick and got in real bad shape. It was about $1,900 and Massive paid all of it. So I didn't have to pay any of it.
Okay, yeah, that was my next question. Is there any deductible or?
No, sir, we cover all the, we
patient
cover
responsibilities?
100%, no deductibles, no co-pays. You send us the bill and we pay that provider directly.
Okay.
The only thing, the way you get transported, it's gonna get filed against your primary, your health insurance. And then once you get that EOB with balance left on it, you just send that to us, and then our claims team works on it. And we usually adjudicate the bills between 30 and 120 days. It just depends on the provider and, you know, some of the needs for run notes, or if things are held up in court for a reason or whatever. And so those are the only things that kind of extend it out sometimes. But we keep our members informed so they're aware of the process of what's happening throughout it all.
I have a question, Melissa, to the judge's question. So CareFlight, you said renews August 1st, but we wouldn't need both. But we don't, if we're not making a decision on MASA today and we are kind of really forced to renew CareFlight because we don't want employees to be without, right? So can we, if we decided to do this later, can we cancel CareFlight and get a refund, or how does that work?
Cancel, now I think they would work with us if we were delayed in renewing.
Oh.
But now keep in mind, we also pay for the employees to have Texas EMS local, which is primary provider here in Hood County. So it's not like nobody wouldn't have any coverage. They would have the Texas EMS and AirEvac.
Yes, Air Evac for in-county. Fitting all
This is
the
kind of where we step
criteria.
in.
This is getting,
I
this is
worked
fun.
for that company, AirEvac, since 2005 up until 2016. And I was director of sales, or regional director of sales. And that was one of the things that we used to talk about all the time is being a paramedic. We wanted to base a program that was based on the clinical aspects of which assets and resources could respond, regardless of jurisdiction, regardless of your travel. But that way, the timeliness and rapid response for the closest available was there. And all the membership programs out there with the air ambulances is great. They're trying, you know, we're not trying to say that's a bad situation. But what we wanted to do is build a more comprehensive plan like Jaron talked about. But also, when you think about their revenue cycles and recovering money, on their membership programs, they're basically getting only an insurance payment, whatever the primary is going to pay, and they have to write off the rest of the bill. When they transport a MASA member, they file with primary, and then our MASA kicks in, and then we pay their out of pocket. So we're increasing their revenue cycle, and the speed in which the revenue comes in, and we're agnostic to which provider it is. So the clinical aspect of getting a patient taken care of as rapid as possible can play out the way the 911 system is built.
And it seems like y'all are doing like, you know, hey, this membership for this, and oh, this membership's coming over here, and this is exactly why we exist, to help y'all solve that problem.
And then last week, a lot of y'all were in Waco, right? Yeah, so in Waco, they traveled out of the county to go to a meeting. So if something were to happen to you were there, this plan would pick it up versus the other one's in county only, so that's.
Had like a skiing breaker neck in Colorado, two hospitals.
And I'll tell you my personal story is, you know, I got into the business because I was a paramedic and I was selling the area back membership. And a good story, we work with the rubber meets the road on the ambulance. We understand critical care, mobile intensive care units and all the things that come along with that. So that was my why, right? That was my passion. But then my grandson was born in 2020 during COVID and had respiratory distress and he had to be flown. My daughter and my son-in-law had a bill from the air ambulance company for $68 grand.
Wow.
Take a guess how much the insurance paid? $6,000, 10% of the bill. So they had to file. My daughter, smart as she was, picked up MASA because we're offering it voluntarily through the bank that she worked at, or one of our groups, one of our early groups. And luckily she had it. They had to pay nothing. I mean, you know, being 25 years old, having a baby, and then having to pay a $60,000 bill on top of that, it's not anything, and we took care of that. And there was 2 ground ambulance transports with it, neonatal transport, so those were covered as well. So my wife, that I have passion about it, changed from being a medic to actually living with my daughter, my grandson, and he's doing good.
Y'all have any more questions? Let me get close to the mic here. Y'all have any more questions for us? I'm happy to answer them.
Take a look at, you know.
Yeah, we'll
whatever
send you
numbers we can do with
we'll get it here to Daniel. We'll send the proposal through them and different pricing and how we can work something up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank y'all.
I do have one more question. On the participation requirement, you know, is that 10 in each of those 3 categories, or is that 10 total?
10 total.
Okay.
10 folks sign up, you got a group. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay. We're not going to take any action on that until we hear from CareFlight then, which is the next one, right? Is CareFlight going to be here?
No, sir. No,
All right.
we kind of have limited contact with them. They haven't come to a court probably in about 4 or 5 years. They used to come every year, but
Yeah.
they've quit coming. I did get a little bit of history, though, about CareFlight and how Hood County became involved with CareFlight. Evidently, whenever Hood County started participating in CareFlight, Mr. Schwartz, who was the president of CareFlight at that time, was good friends with the CEO at the hospital here. And CareFlight was primary transportation for the hospital. So that's evidently why we became involved with CareFlight. And so things have changed since then, but we've continued the membership. I'm just not sure how often our folks get to use CareFlight when they're out here at Lake Granbury, because it's not the primary service that's called.
In my personal experience, it's probably 90% air evac whenever we fly people. It's, you know, sometimes air evac doesn't want to fly and CareFlight will. Sometimes they're out of county and CareFlight's closer. But the vast majority of the time, the scenes I've worked, it's air evac that transports from this area. So as far as, you know, it is very unlikely that somebody's going to end up on a helicopter. And then I think that it's further, the odds are further reduced that it's going to be CareFlight if they do.
I just want you to know your options and bring some things to the table, and I don't want you spending your money on something that maybe our folks are not actually getting the benefit of.
Right.
What is the cost comparative to NASA?
No, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong, that dollar amounts per month that you just showed up here.
Correct.
Yes.
Our dollar amount is per month. That is reflected on the increased utilization.
It's $12 a year per employee household. And then whomever may enroll in it during the year because they're a new employee. So you might pay out $12 to $24 every month to enroll those new employees. So it could be about $4,500, $4,600 a year for CareFlight.
Yeah, It's not much money, but
it's- you're
I
paying
would
for
really
something-
rather,
you're paying for something that is very, sounds like hardly ever used, where we could put that money towards something else that would be much more beneficial.
I would appreciate if you did consider that, yes.
I'm really interested in seeing, what we can do with the MASA rates or whatever, and it's, yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
confusing.
Yeah.
And I don't think the general public realizes that they don't, I know there's several ways you can be, contribute through your water bill or whatever, but you don't realize where you live or where you happen to be when you have an emergency, that what you're paying on your water bill every month, that carrier's not coming to get you. And you're
That's
like, "Well,
correct.
I pay every month for my
Yeah.
water bill. How come I have to pay again?" So it's just so confusing.
It is very confusing, and that's why I looked at Commissioner Andrews. I get them all confused. I can't keep them straight.
Well, and it's a little bit kind of like Q-tip. Do people think that if a helicopter comes and picks them up, they're on care flight in this area, and it's not necessarily care flight that you're on, so they may
Right.
not even be aware that it's, a different carrier. Right. Yeah.
Or Tennessee or Kentucky or, further, even further, you probably won't be care flight.
Correct.
I don't, yeah, I would like to see further numbers from MASA, so I would just like to say, take no action on this at this time with the care flight. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
excuse me, Judge. So on item number 3, if we take no action, it expires on Thursday anyway.
Yes, sir,
Right.
it does. It does.
Just putting that in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like the plan too. I go to Italy every year. You cover Sicily too?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, our CEO that retired about 3 years ago, he's actually from Italy.
Yeah, I'll spend 2 weeks there.
Oh, wow.
So,
He,
hope I don't need you. Okay, is there any, Ms. Coaches, do you have anything to bring to this party, picnic? I see you back there.
I am here today as a TAC County Relations Officer to visit with elected officials and just let you know what's available through TAC and what events might be coming up, and I'll be around the county all day.
Well, good. We like seeing you. We'd like seeing you down in Waco too. Anyway, good. Is there anything else then?
No, sir,
I know that-
appreciate you.
I think that Ms. Robbins has left. Am I right, Sheriff? The one speaker, she had to leave, I'm assuming.
They were happy with your decision and left.
Oh, good. Well, good. I'm glad somebody is. That's good. Okay, well, let's adjourn on a high note then. Thank you all for coming here. We're adjourned.
That's funny. I'm glad somebody.
Good job, Ms. Welberg. Thank you.